Hi, welcome. So in this video we're going to walk through making different layouts for landscape and portrait, and also start talking about the different qualifiers that we can use for our resources. So here's the story so far. I've made my awesome app. I've got some text. I've got a picture of the iliac one, and I've just been playing with the settings here to line things up correctly as I wish. And here's what I've got. I've got the text first, but then in my image view I say please lay out below my text so the text appears first. I want to center it, and I'm going to adjust the view bounds. So we'll explain what adjust view bounds and scale type does now, just by kind of demonstrating it. Okay, so in the layout here, it's useful to have a properties view open. So let me get the properties view open all the time. There we go. It does pop up, and as you might have noticed, on the right automatically. But I'm going to put it over here so we can see all of the different tags and all the different attributes that we have to play with here. Okay. So right now I've got my image as a scale type of fit XY, and adjust view bounds is true. Let me turn adjust view bounds true to false. So adjust view bound, if I set to true, will rescale the actual container, the actual view, to the size of the image, and also set the image so that we preserve the aspect ratio of the original image. So you can see without that, I've got an image that is kind of somewhat appears somewhat squashed, because we've pulled the image to fit all of the available space. A different scale type, for example, let's try the crop, center crop. Okay. We still use all of the space, but now we've zoomed into the image, so we've lost the sides of the original picture. And if I choose where's the start and end ones? Fit start. Then we keep the original aspect ratio, but that means that I've got some spare space in my box here, and so we push the picture to the top, and guess what? If I put fit at the end, we would have fitted our image and placed it at the end of the box. I think you can guess what fit center would do. So I'm going to go back to my start, which was fit XY, and followed by saying actually adjust the view so that the box is shrunk to fit the largest picture. Right, so I'm pretty happy with this. I should check it on different devices. So for example, I should check it on this tiny device, 2.7 inches across, and a low density screen, or let's say a large tablet 10 inches across. Okay, and also I can check different orientations of my screen, for example, and go back to say something else. Okay, there we go. Now I might decide that actually in landscape view I don't want this this particular layout. I'd like to optimize the look and feel of this by putting the discussions on the text on the right. So let's start making these changes. Right, I'm going to go back into my activity main. Oh, and by the way, if you're editing the text over here, if I pressed Control Space, I would have got the same drop down options as well. Okay, so let's put that in. Right, so the first thing we'll do is we'll clean up this warning about having a hard-coded string. I'm going to select the string here and now go up to Refactor, and there's an option called Extract Android String. So we can say here's the string, here's the entry I'll have inside my string file, here's the resource it's going to have. I could, if I wish, have additional qualifiers, such as a language qualifier, or maybe I could have even different text for very small devices. But anyway, let's click OK. And now we have an entry over here that now refers to an entry inside my string. Oops, the warning's still here. Don't worry, we can make that disappear. We'll rerun the Android lint, and now that warning's gone. A reminder: the Android attributes always start with the Android colon. If you misspell them, you may not get any errors at all. If you forget the Android part, you may not get any errors either. So, okay, yes, we did get a little lint warning down here. There we go. So pay attention if you're typing these things out to make sure that you've typed it correctly. But the other way of entering things is to use the properties tag. So if I'm in the graphical layout, I can click on the different components using the outline, and then I can choose to edit some of the properties over here directly inside the properties. Okay, so I promised that we'd have a different layout for landscape. Here's how we'll do this. We'll treat the current one we've got as the default layout, the ones that we'll use if we're not in that landscape. So now I'm going to make a new directory, and inside res. So let's say new folder. Okay, and we'll call layout, and now we'll add a qualifier to say yes, this applies to our landscapes. If I wanted to have a layouts just for the portrait mode, I could type port, not portrait, just port. But today we're making it for landscapes, so let's make that. And now I could make a layout file in here. I'm going to be a bit lazy though. I'm going to start with the existing one we've got, so I'm going to copy paste it. There we go. And now I'm going to make sure I open up the one inside the layout. So let me close the original one and open this new one. Okay, so here's our new one inside the layout.land, and I'm going to change this so that the caption is on to the right. So instead of my image view being underneath, is it layout below? Let's have the text on the right. So we'll say, for example, let's make the text view depend on this. So turn that line, get rid of that line, and over here we'll have layout to the right of my image view. So at ID image view. Okay, and I'm going to put this after my, so I'm just copy pasting the text. Okay. Alright, so we've got the image and we've got the text on the right now, and actually I don't want this centered anymore. Let's take that constraint off. So center horizontal, no, I don't need that anymore, so let's turn that off. Okay, it's starting to look a little bit more reasonable. I would like a small space between these, so let's have some padding in here. So in my text view, I can find a padding option. So I could use a margin or padding for this padding left. And I need to decide how much. Well, the standard unit of measurement is a device independent pixels. There's 160 of these per inch. So if I say 16 dp, I'm talking about 1/10 of an inch, or about that much. A bit larger than the pencil lead. Okay, so now I've got some space. I'm starting to like this, and perhaps I want to have my text a little larger here, so I can specify a text size as well. Text size. Now, text sizes are specified using something very similar to my device independent pixels, and when we were first playing, we could use DP here. But as the warning down here suggests, we should use SP instead of DP. There's very little difference between them. The important difference, though, is that the scaled pixels SP allow a user to tweak the text size a little bit. So, for example, they might decide that they would prefer all text to be slightly larger. Okay, so let's have a look at our fantastic app. Okay, that's starting to come along nicely. I actually have some more interesting text to include. So let's put that in. So I did not write this text. In fact, I came across a slightly earlier version of this text. Okay. And so I asked the original author for permission to include it. So I actually called them up, and then we talked by email. So let's go and find our text. Here it is. Right now it's called Hello World. If I hold down the Command key
or Control key for Windows users,
I can jump directly to this. There we go. And so goodbye, awesome world. Instead, we're going to use the text we know about this machine here. Okay. Right, so now let's take a look at this. Aha, okay. So we're starting to turn this into an interesting app now. A couple of comments. Because I didn't hard code the text inside my layout, it means that now both my layout files, the default one and the one I'm using for landscape, will now both use that text. I can show you that there. Okay, so there's the other layout. But we have a problem with our non-landscape, our default, which is that we said that we wanted the image underneath the text, and by increasing the amount of text, we managed to push the image off. So we've got some more work to do with this. We can start to limit sizes and put in scrolling options as well. But that's enough for me right now. I will, let's see, comment that the next things we're going to be talking about is internationalization of our apps and how to export our application so other people can install it on their phone. The last final comment on this is there's of course more to learn with these resources and drawables. I'll include the links to the reference documentation. For example, you'll learn that you can put in these qualifiers down here, and so these say things like I played with that one earlier. These say things like if the smallest width of the device, so here's my phone, in which case it's this physical measurement across here, or on a tablet the width across here. If I'm holding it this way, it's still the that measurement. If that is at least this number of pixels, so for example, if it's equivalent to at least 600 device independent pixels, so we could work out what that is in inches, for example, or centimeters, then use these settings instead. And if you were to look inside your file, you'll see there's this dimensions thing, and we can set the a margin to be slightly larger, for example, on a large tablet. And these specify values for different versions, different API versions as well. So there's ways to tweak and configure our resources and layouts so that our app looks great on different phones. But when you're just starting out, don't worry about that. Just get it working either on the a particular emulator or your own phone, and we'll worry about the polish later as you come to publish it and give it to other people. Right, that's it. Time for you to play, and I'll see you in the next video.
Before playing the next video, be sure to check out the next steps that we've listed in this week's summary of the course.